from Ehrenberg, Arizona. I am actually packing up and getting ready to head out of here this morning. I've been here in this area. I've bounced around a little bit between here and Quartzsite and Tucson and a few other places, but for the most part I've been hanging out in this area for more than 3 months now, since early November, and it's time to change the scenery. One thing, it's this area has its own uniqueness, but it's also not the most stunningly beautiful place I've been lately. And you compare it to Sedona or something, and it's just a little bit underwhelming, but it's got good things here. Some people really enjoy it, but the big draw with Ehrenberg is that, it's a place to camp free, and you got food not too far away over in Blythe, so that's kind of the big thing for Ehrenberg. The weather is better than, a lot of places, so it's kind of a, winter holding ground. But my friends who've been here, they've all scattered across the country, different directions now, so that's one less reason to hang around. And it's getting hot here. Even though it's only February 10th I'm recording this, it's hot. Yesterday on the 9th, it was in the 80s, supposed to be in the 80s again today. I know those of you who are up north freezing, waiting to go out and shovel snow again after you finish watching this video, won't be sympathetic, but when you're parked in the desert with very little shade and you have to be in the sun anyways for solar panels, 80s is pretty hot. Definitely too hot for my comfort level. Started running into trouble with electronics overheating and stuff, and so it's time to find somewhere a little cooler. The only reason I'm actually still here is that I'm going to be meeting a friend in Phoenix for a day in the next week, and then from there I'm going to be heading to a higher elevation. It'll be a little more comfortable, hopefully, weather-wise, and that's the only reason I've even waited this long, is because I'm going through Phoenix and have that appointment to keep. Otherwise, I'd have been out of here a week or so ago, probably. So we're getting ready to hit the road and heading over, towards Phoenix, not all the way, and we'll see how it goes today. So I'm going to finish packing up. Okay, so while I'm still in Ehrenberg, one of the things I thought I'd point out is the ground here is just mostly rock, and it's kind of unusual. In that, you think desert, you think sand, and if you go, more than a few miles from here, the desert sometimes, the desert can be sand again. But right here in Ehrenberg and over even a good part of Quartzsite, it's quite rocky, and it's kind of interesting. But the trick with that is that it's all rock on the surface, a lot of quartz and other rocks that I don't know because I'm not a rock hound, but it's all rock on the surface in many places. But if you dig down at all, it's a mix of sand and rocks. And so if you get, especially when it gets wet, it's actually, you can drive on a lot of this, no problem. When it's dry, there's an occasional soft spot, but especially when it gets wet, any of those soft spots are just like, they just liquefy, and you can get stuck pretty easily. But this rock is, it looks fairly smooth from a distance. When you get actually closer to it, it's really a fairly uneven surface, and it's rough on your feet if you're walking any distance, if you're hiking or anything. People who have dogs here, their dogs' feet get sometimes get pretty banged up from it. And it's pretty easy to trip and stumble just walking around because it's fairly uneven. So, but it's weird. I've camped in a lot of other desert areas that were sandy, and this one is just covered in rock. And if you go check out any of the washes, you can see the cuts where the water's carried stuff away, and you can see it's just layers of a mix of sand and rock, down quite deep. So that's Ehrenberg. So pulling out of the little area where I've been camped and getting back onto the road here. As you can kind of see, this road's a little bit rough. It actually started off the season in November, and quite a bit, well, it wasn't it was better than this, and it's definitely just deteriorated over the course of the winter. So I'm guessing you can kind of see that between what you can see with the camera and the shaking and the rattling noise as we go down this road. And this is like, 5 miles an hour. You just can't go very fast. It does eventually get better in several stages as you get towards town, but meanwhile, that's another reason I won't be upset to get out of here, because the road's just really gotten to the point that I don't even like going in and out anymore. Well, the roads here, and the rocks and the ruts and things are one reason people like high clearance vehicles if they're traveling on BLM or Forest Service roads a lot. And now they're getting back on the main road into here. It's a little bit better, a little bit smoother. And a quick stop at the Ehrenberg mini mart here, often called the mall, on my way out. I get rid of a bag of trash and fill up my water jugs and check my mail while I'm here, because I have a box here. That's pretty much the economy in Ehrenberg, I think, both RV parks and boondockers who come in and spend money here. But this place offers, in addition to all the regular services, they offer mail boxes for fairly cheap. And that's just, if you're planning on spending a little while here, a few months or something in this area, it's a convenient way to be able to get mail. So I made it over here to Saddle Mountain BLM area. It's just south of Tonopah, Arizona, not too far west of Phoenix. I actually had to go into Buckeye to Walmart to pick up some groceries, which is unfortunately about 20 miles past this exit off of I-10. But when you're camped in the middle of nowhere, sometimes you gotta go out of your way a little bit to find groceries. So I'm set up here. I think I'll take a quick look around and see what it looks like around here. Just out for a quick walk here around this camping area at the base of the mountain. There's a few other rigs here, but it's nowhere near as crowded as Ehrenberg was. That's my van right there in the middle. So you can see a few other vehicles, but like I said, nothing like it was back in Ehrenberg. So okay, now I'm excited. I've just found my first spring bloom in the desert. Not sure what it is, but it's pretty, and it's the first time I've seen a spring bloom in the desert. So I ended up finding this nice little campsite here at the base of the mountain that someone is just in the middle of the bush. It's a little ways off the road, and you can see the path going in where somebody used it as a campsite. So I followed it in, and it's nice, it's green, and someone actually even in the past took the time to landscape around some of the bushes and whatnot. So a nice little campsite, and I'll be here for a few nights before I move on to Phoenix and then start working up north to a higher elevation, because it's getting warm here. Today is actually is really nice. It's in the 80s here, but the sun is kind of we got some light cloud cover, so the sun is sort of shielded a little bit, and so it's not quite as intense. And so it's actually just like a real nice summer day. But the weather pattern's been heating up, so I'm going to start working my way to some higher elevation and a little cooler temperatures. And meanwhile, I'll put together the next few days on here. I'll put together some clips from this site and show you around where I'm at and give you my thoughts on the Saddle Mountain BLM area. We'll see you in the next video.